Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a subject which is not very often touched on, and that is supplements and supplementation. Now, two quick disclaimers before I begin this video. If your diet isn't under control, so if you're trying to put on quality muscle mass, but you're just eating a heck of a lot of calories with just the idea of you're bulking, that's not going to work. Nor if you're eating in a caloric surplus, or inversely, if you're trying to starve yourself in order to lose weight, supplements will not work for you. You have to make sure that the basics are done well beforehand, that you have a good balanced diet in place for those supplements to be an optimum performance assistant for you. Now, disclaimer number 2, water. Make sure you're drinking water. If you're taking a pre-workout, if you're taking creatine, if you're taking a protein shake, if you're taking whatever it is, make sure that you are hydrating. No, the water in your coffee does not count. Sorry. Just the way that it is. Make sure that you have a balanced diet. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Get the basics down, and the supplementation will help. Supplements are literally in addition to, on top of. They aren't some magic pill that's just going to suddenly fix everything. However, they will give you the little boost, the little inches that you need in order to progress towards your goals. Alright, now that the disclaimers are out of the way, let's really get down to the meat of the subject, which are supplements. So, supplements, what are they? They are aids in which we can better assist us in furthering our health and fitness goals. Now, supplements come in all different shapes, sizes, forms, and products. However, there can be a lot of confusion, and with me, I work in a sub store, and I have seen people walk in daily who don't know the first thing about supplements. And I'm not saying you need to be a genius, you don't have to be a complete whiz kid at all your supplements and know exactly what's in every single product. That's not for you to do. Make sure you go to a supplement retailer that knows what they're talking about, that will be able to go in depth and describe why you need this particular supplement or why it would be beneficial to your goal. For most people, I would sort of go down, these are the supplements that I'd recommend you take. So let's look on the side of, let's just say, a young teenage boy. Maybe he's 18, 19, just started the gym. He's what you classify as a hard gainer and can't really put on size. He's basically that scrawny kid who, no matter what he does, he eats and eats and eats, but he can't seem to pack on muscle. Alright, 1, make sure his diet's good. Make sure that he's getting protein-rich food. You can, especially if you're new to gymming and you're quite young, you don't have to be as strict on your diet. Your body is naturally going to respond. It can process those calories because your metabolism's a lot higher. The basal metabolic rate of someone who is going through puberty or someone who is about 18 to 25 is significantly higher than someone who is 35 to 45 years old, an advanced trainer, or someone who just has a much slower metabolism. And basically, if they look at something that's even slightly unhealthy, they'll gain a pound. So, for that person, what would we recommend? Well, first of all, make sure they have a balanced diet. Make sure they're eating protein-rich foods. Make sure they're getting a good amount of carbohydrates to give them the energy. Make sure they've got moderate to low amounts of fats, healthy fats, just to make sure that the carbs slow down and it can be processed through their digestive tract. When we look at supplements, okay, make sure they're drinking enough water. What are some supplements that I might recommend someone who is coming into my sub store? Who knows, they might even be working with me doing some online coaching, and we've got their program all together. They just want to know, alright, what can I do to help accelerate my gains? What can I do to really make the most of the things that I'm doing right now? To an individual like that, I would definitely recommend a protein powder. Now, protein powders are the best value for money in terms of, even if you get something like a steak or tuna or whatever, if we're looking at price per gram of protein, yeah, pretty much protein powder if you get a can of tuna, even the really cheap ones, and look at how much protein is in there, you'll be pleasantly surprised with how cheap protein powder actually is. You get 3 main types of main protein powders, which are your whey isolates. So there'll be a whey protein concentrate, whey protein isolate, and then a hydrolyzed whey protein. Basically, starting from concentrate to isolate to hydrolyze, that's basically the state of refinement. The more refined it is, the more easy it is to digest and pull through. For most people, blends are quite good. For me, I quite like the Rule 1 protein blend or the R1 isolate. Both seem to be very good products, very reasonably priced, and they taste good. So why do we take protein powder? Well, it's simple. It's basically to supplement in your protein intake for the day. It's just more convenient. Does that mean if you take a protein powder, you're going to get bigger? No, it just means you're hitting that protein intake for the day. For people who want to get on a mass gainer, which is pumped with a lot of fats and a lot of carbohydrates, listen, it may be controversial. Your mass gainers are really only good for those people who maybe struggle to eat a sheer volume of carbohydrates and protein, and maybe just knocking back a shake is more convenient for them and easier to do. However, carbs are everywhere. Get some oats, get some sweet potato, get some rice, have a bagel, or, protein is easy to get, so are carbs. You just need to know where to look. Mass gainers, you pay so much for them, and if you get a big 2 kilo, 3 kilo bag, they've only got 16 servings in them, because you fill your protein shaker 3/4 of the way up and then mix some water in there. Mass gainers, little bit of a rip-off. That's my personal opinion. They are convenient though, so if you're struggling to eat a sheer amount of food and it's just easier for you to knock back a protein shake or a mass gainer, by all means do that. So protein powder is top of the list. What's next? Creatine. Creatine, right next to protein powder, is the most researched supplement in the world. There's a reason why nearly everyone will take it, irregardless of your goals. Creatine helps with muscular power. Contrary to popular belief, it does not swell your muscles up. It will draw a little bit of water in, it will help with a little bit of muscle volumization, but its main purpose is muscle power. So it will help with your muscle power, i.e. strength. Now with that, most people will say you'll have to do a loading phase, which it varies depending on who you talk to. Some people will say you need to load for a week, some people will say 10 days, other people will say you just need to do 4 days. Some people will say you need to take 5 grams 4 times per day for a week. For me, I have really no personal preference. I have done all sorts of loading phases on creatine. As long as, for me, what I do, just for my own peace of mind, is I would do 10 grams per day for 10 days and then just 5 grams per day thereafter. That will make sure that my cells are saturated with creatine and that I can work on my muscular power. So, protein powder and creatine, 2 of the most researched. What comes after that? For most people, usually multivitamins or a greens powder. Now this could be, I know a lot of people will go, oh, greens? Most people are not getting the right amount of fruit and vegetables in their diet, and as such they're lacking a lot of vitamins, minerals, micronutrients. A greens powder or a multivitamin will benefit you, and again, you can't just take these things for a week or 2 and expect to see huge amounts of change. These are ones that need to be done daily, and they need to be done consistently in order to get the long-term effects from it. Alright, that's 3 of them. Would there be anything else? Well, are you training? Are you working out? Are you going to the gym? If the answer is yes, okay, what might I recommend? Aminos. For those of you who don't know what aminos are, essentially, when we sell aminos in sub stores, we look at essential amino acids. Aminos that your body cannot naturally produce. It needs to get it from food from outside dietary intake. So with that, most of your essential amino acids, and there's 9 or 10 depending on who you talk to, from memory there are 10. These are basic building blocks towards muscle recovery, muscle regeneration, cell repair, as well as protein synthesis. So your aminos are a precursor to protein. Now, if we're looking at, you then get EAAs, which are essential amino acids, and within those 10 EAAs, there are 3 BCAAs. So if you get a supplement that says it has EAAs, that's awesome because it covers everything. Some people will then put on EAAs and BCAAs, just to make sure they've got their bases covered. Branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine. These are 3 amino acids which have a branch chain structure. Essentially just means they're a more complex form of amino acid, or has a branch structure. Nice and easy. Don't complicate yourself. As long as you have EAAs with the BCAAs, you're fine. Now most of them, and a lot of the new ones are coming out with electrolytes or coconut powder gel with hydration, as well as replacing lost salts, lost when you exercise and you sweat. Cool. So we've got protein powder, we've got creatine, we have got our multivitamins or greens, we've got ourselves aminos. Now, there are probably some of you out there who are like, well, what about pre-workouts? To which I say, well, what about pre-workouts? Pre-workouts are very personal and very dependent upon your goals. If you're a bodybuilder who's looking to achieve a certain look, you'd be looking for more vasodilation. So basically blood flow, pump, so that when you hit a pose on stage, everything looks nice and full and round. So for you, you'd probably be going for more something that has nitric oxide. So something which has L-citrulline or L-citrulline malate, which converts to arginine, which then converts into nitric oxide. Basically, muscular pumps, vasodilation, blood flow. Most of you do not need the high stim pre-workouts that the market is so desperately trying to push upon general population. I hate to break it to you, but 99% of you do not train hard enough to warrant taking 500 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous every day, 5 days a week for your workouts, where half the time you are spending it on your phone working your thumbs. For me personally, I very rarely take high stim pre-workouts. 1, they bug me the heck out, and 2, I don't want to be so tweaked that I can't focus on my workout. Most of you do not need a high stim pre-workout. Sure, a low stim or something with moderate amount of caffeine. Caffeine anhydrous is the most common source of energy for a pre-workout. Caffeine anhydrous essentially just passes through a mucous membrane and then is absorbed into the bloodstream. Very fast acting, it's a concentrated form of caffeine, which means it's going to absorb like that, you get a big spike, and then the crash is pretty hard. People will offset that by having a dicaffeine malate or a teacrine or a green tea leaf extract, just to make sure that when you come up, your ride smooths down over about an hour and a half to 2 hours. With the high stimulant pre-workouts, please, please, please make sure that you use them sparingly. If you buy a tub of high stim pre-workout, it should last you nearly 3-4 months. No one that I know of personally really warrants taking a high stim pre-workout all the time. You are going to get bugged out of your mind, and you're going to short your adrenal glands, you're going to really mess up your central nervous system. You need to give your body a break from that, because it's a stimulant, is essentially a drug. It is changing your body chemistry, if only temporarily, but it can have long-term effects. So, pre-workouts, they're a matter of personal preference, and go on what. Now, if you go into a sub store and you're going on what they tell you, make sure you give them the full picture and be honest with yourself. Are you working out that hard? Do you really need it? Try and get the most amount of results with as little as possible. And the reason why I stress this is because too many people come in and they're like, I've tried this pre-workout, I've tried this pre-workout, oh, they're double scooping this. This isn't to toot my own horn. I train very, very intense. I'm like a psychopath when I train. Although probably I don't look like it at the minute, I put the hard work in. I don't know of a lot of people that need these high stim pre-workouts. Give your body a break. Be honest with yourself. Do you really need that? Do you want to be spending money on something which really you're not putting to use? Those supplements will only work as hard as you do. So please just be sensible with it. So, for those of you who might want to be losing weight, common thing is a fat burner. Typically something with L-carnitine in it, a little bit of caffeine as well, and maybe some green tea leaf extract. Fat burners. This is a little bit of a grey area. Do fat burners work? Yes. Do fat burners do what a lot of sub-retailers say they'll do? No. Whenever I sell a fat burner, I always sell it with the disclaimer. Okay, so for this to work, just make sure you're in a caloric deficit, i.e. you're burning more calories than you're taking in. That is the way for this fat burner to effectively work. If you're in a caloric surplus, taking in more calories than you're burning, you are not going to lose weight, no matter how much fat burner you take. The fat burner can only work as hard as you do. So making sure that you have a high output, that will help. Now, if you're on the pill or you have thyroid issues or if you have medical conditions, yes, it can be hard to lose weight. For those people, that's where GPs come in handy. For me, I will never advise anyone if they have a particular condition, whether it be medical, whether it be genetic, etc. I wouldn't ever be comfortable recommending those supplements for them, simply because you don't know how they're going to react. Alright guys, was there anything else that I needed to add to this? So we've gone through your protein, we've gone through creatine, we've gone through your greens or multivitamins, we've gone through aminos, we've gone through pre-workout, we've gone through fat burner. Is there anything else that people commonly get confused about with supplements? Well, really, I think a lot of people are just looking for a very quick fix, and that's something supplements just can't do. Your best thing to do is to go to a sub-retailer and go through and list what your output is. For some people, like, if I want to make this a selling game, it's easy for me, because someone could come in and say, well, they're trained 5 or 6 times a week. Oh, and you know, like, if someone's trained 5 or 6 times a week, immediately, well, make sure you've got protein. Are you taking protein? Yes, they might. So they might not need protein. They're getting enough from their regular diet. Creatine, you taking that? No, well, you're going to want to, because your muscular power is going to fail if you keep beating your body down like that, training 5 or 6 times a week. Aminos, are you taking them? Is your recovery good? Are you getting those precursors? Are you getting the aminos to help with your muscle recovery, muscle regeneration, protein synthesis? No? Alright, well, you need to be taking that. Make sure it has electrolytes added in. Maybe you need a sleep formula as well, because you're probably getting a lot of cortisol and a lot of stress from those workouts. So we need to get something that has some ashwagandha, maybe a little bit of magnesium, to help calm down those impulses. If you come in and you just try and lie about what you're doing in order to get a certain supplement, listen, we'll tell you exactly what you need. Be honest, be upfront with what you're doing. It'll be a lot better for you, and you'll be able to get supplements which are specifically tailored to your goals, to your needs, to your requirements. If you guys have any sub-questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll try and get through as many as I can. If I'm not sure on anything, I'll do my due diligence, I'll ask around, I'll research, I'll make sure we get you the correct answers to your questions. If this episode helped you at all, feel free to leave a like, share, comment, tag us on your Instagram stories if you want, take a screenshot and just tag me at Garian_EvansPT or at team_GTrain, and I will share it onto my Instagram story as well, because, you know, if you share the love, I'll share the love right back round. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment below. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Until next time, I will see you on the next video, and GTrain